Thank you for joining our webinar today, Introduction to eBay Workflow and eForms, how to perform digitally in healthcare, manufacturing, and cannabis industry. Thank you for your time. So during our webinar, if you can keep your microphone muted, we shall appreciate it. And also during our webinar, if you can type your questions in the chat box, we will address your questions in Q&A session, which is in the end of our webinar. Really appreciate your cooperation. I am Kevin Devecioglu. I am the Managing Director of Bimser International. And today, panelists, we have Joel Galloway from Panacea Life Sciences. We have Joel Halverson from Quintel Management Consulting, and we have ETR Gonzalez from our team as well from Bimser International. We thank you for your time and for your interest. So I'd like to start with a very brief overview of our company, and then we'll continue with our use. So you'll learn about eBA, you'll learn about how it is helping companies in real life in our in business world in US marketplace. We are international. We are an enterprise software maker since 1998, and as a company, we believe in simplicity. And all of our products are to simplify processes of companies, and we are to be the marketplace, which is global enterprise marketplace. As a company, Bimser is a group of companies. Our headquarters, our parent company, and our development center is in Istanbul metro area, where the yellow dot is. In addition, we have Bimser Europe, located in Netherlands, for our European operations. As I myself and my teammates, we are located in New York. As a company, we have been developing enterprise software products since 1998, and as a group, we are about 150 people. Bimser is a certified SAP vendor, a Microsoft Gold partner, and an Acumatica independent vendor. We have 4 products. We are very focused and concentrated in what we are doing. So our products are what you see on our screen. eBA is our work management platform that we'll talk more about it today with our use case with Panacea Life Sciences. BIM is our asset management and maintenance management software. QDMS is our quality, risk, and compliance management software, and Ensemble is our business process management software. So when we look at our products, Ensemble is more of a managerial tool. eBay in document management, BIM in asset and maintenance management, and QDMS in quality management. They are to automate processes. All of our products, they can work standalone. They can be integrated to each other. They can be integrated to any ERP, any CRM product in the marketplace. Our products are out on-premise servers, and there is mobile app available for every single product of ours. When we look at our projects, number of projects, we have done many projects, as you see on the screen, and we are very experienced in what we do. As for eBA, we have delivered more than 400 projects. As for BIM, we have delivered more than 300 projects. As for QDMS, more than 700 projects we have delivered. And as for Ensemble, we have delivered more than 100 projects. These are global figures and still counting every single day. And also, when we look at our customers, our references, they are very well-known, reputable companies, as you can tell. 3M is one of them, using eBA in 17 different countries. United Nations is using eBA for refugee tracking and documentation, which is a very vital task for United Nations. AstraZeneca is in pharmaceutical using eBA. Bridgestone in Middle East and in Turkey, they are using eBA. Societe Generale is a France-based bank. They use eBA in loan automation processes. ArcLight movie theaters based in California, they are also using eBA. Ford and Alliance are some of our references as well. And in addition, of course, Panacea Life Sciences is also one of our references now. I'm proud to share it with you. In essence, that is who we are and what we do in as Now, what I like to do is that I like to turn it to Joe Galloway from Panacea Life Sciences so that he can share information, his insights, first of all, introductions of his company and his experiences with eBA and how it's been going so far. Joe, are you available?
I am here. Thank you for that
I'll
introduction.
Thank you.
Hi, yeah, so my name's Joe Galloway. I actually come from an IT background. So, I'm very familiar with different solutions across the board, large box solutions down to smaller. And, as the COO of Panacea Life Sciences, really, and I guess I have to give a quick background of what Panacea Life Sciences is. So can you go to the next slide, please? Yeah, so our vision. So we're looking to develop a therapeutic potential of hemp plant extracts for our patients with unmet medical needs. And so what we really do is we're focused on CBD, which is a cannabinoid from industrial hemp, okay? And so it is a new emerging market, and it's funny, I was talking with somebody the other day, and I don't know who all is in the audience, but we were talking about it, and really you can see CBD and to another extent, THC and the other part of the cannabis plant, really as one of the first emerging markets and first new markets since the personal computer. It's something that they're all brand new companies, and really we're just scratching the surface as far as what the plant is capable of doing. And so what we do is we want to provide formulated quality products to maximize health benefits, okay? So what does that mean? That means that we're creating different products, whether it's from a sublingual tablet to a soft gel to our dog products. All of those different products are focused and formulated to really help out our customers. Kind of our business model is scientifically focused or scientifically motivated, medically focused, okay? And our main goal is to give those quality products. And in an industry that is emerging like it is now, there's really not the controls that are there the controls are not in place to really ensure that everyone's being responsible in this market. And so our goal is to be a responsible company that our products are what they say they are. And really, to do that, we decided that we needed a really strong IT solution to make sure that we are hitting our standards and that we can have a pharmaceutical model in this emerging market. So next slide, please. So when you think about CBD, there's a lot of different areas of where, and by no means am I making claims, and the studies are ongoing for a lot of these. There's a lot of different areas that the cannabinoids can really help out the body, okay? And really so neuroprotection, autoimmune, cancer, and metabolic, our products, at least at this point, are not really focused on that. So if you see the red highlights, our products are really focused on sleep, anxiety, and pain. And CBD, and we're actually doing our own clinical studies as well to help out the industry and help show that out. But really, our main focus are really helping out people that have sleep disorders. So CBD does not necessarily help you go to sleep, but it's going to help you stay asleep and to get more restful sleep. Anxiety, if you're somebody that has a lot of different panic, PTSD, social anxiety, all of those different things, CBD helps calm your brain, but it doesn't have the same side effects that THC, which is another cannabinoid, has, which is that feeling of getting high. CBD is really more of just a calming effect. And then last but not least, we really focus a lot on pain, okay? So ibuprofen, CBD has been proven in studies that it is 10 times more effective than ibuprofen without any of the side effects. So, you're not going to have issues with your liver, your blood, anything like that. And CBD is going to be able to help you, whether it's localized pain with some sort of salve that you can rub on your sore shoulder or back, or just through a sublingual more of a general wellness and can help treat those different pains. Next slide, please. So now that, I've given you kind of a background about CBD and what we're doing there, and by no means is that a very extensive, just based upon our time limitations, that's what I had. I want to kind of talk to you about Panacea and how we use eBA. So Panacea is a vertically integrated company, and we do everything within this process except for we do not grow our own hemp, okay? So all the hemp is grown is that we actually have outside parties that we partner with. We go tour their fields and make sure that they're growing the highest quality of hemp. But everything else within that circle is what we do. So we'll bring in the hemp, and so we bring in the hemp, and then from there, we go into a hemp extract. And so what do we do there? There's multiple methods of ways of getting the cannabinoids out of the hemp flower, and there's three different choices you have there. So one's CO2 extraction, another is butane extraction, and then last but not least is ethanol extraction. And so as a company, Panacea uses both CO2 extraction as well as ethanol extraction. And so how does this relate back to eBA and the use of that is we're actually, and Joel's going to get into the next, is we use the ERP Cannabis platform, which is built on eBA. And we actually put in different recipes and different activities that are being done. So we are a manufacturing company through and through. Our manufacturing company with a medical focus with CBD. And so when Joel will get into it, he'll show you some different slides and whatnot that show the different screens that we have. But with the capability that eBA provides us, we're able to run our company like a manufacturing company, okay? And so when we're doing hemp extracts, we're going to put in, okay, this is the that we're using. Here's the ethanol that we're going to consume. Some of it we're going to recapture. And with all of that, we are now tracking our inventory, and then we're setting up a baseline of saying, okay, when you put in 1,000 pounds of hemp, this is the amount of extract that you should be getting out of it, right? And that has been a huge, before we were on the solution, we were trying to track things for spreadsheets, and, everyone had to update it, a Google sheet, and it really was just turning into more of every week doing inventory reconciliation, as opposed to now that we're using the system, we're able to not only track our inventory, but also the costs that are associated with that. When I talk about costs, we're talking about material costs, like I spoke about. We're talking about labor costs, the people that are running the machines. We're talking about the machine costs. That machine costs us a large amount of money, so we want to recoup that, and really by the end of it, get a true cost of goods sold. So from there, we go into our hemp extracts, and from there, we're going to get an oil out of that, okay? That oil is then going to go through more processing. Big distillate, which is a cleaner oil where you take away a lot of the fat, some of the terpenes, which is what makes things smell, some of the acids, those different things. So that hemp extracts, while I just have one bullet point there, there's actually multiple processes to get it to the different stages of things that we put into our end products, okay? And so through each one of those different phases, we use eBA to track the inputs and the outputs, as well as all the costs that go into it. So we understand at the end of the day what it costs us to make our products, which kind of goes down into step 3, okay, which is our formulations. So from there, we take our extracts, and then we put it into a soft gel. We have a sublingual tablet. We have a salve. So all the products all have recipes associated with it. And when you're in this industry and you're trying to be a medically focused cannabis company, you really need to have strict control. And that's what ERP Cannabis, which is built on eBA, is allowing us to do. It's allowing us to set recipes, okay? So every time we make our product, we have a recipe. And we know from the start of it, and whoever's making that recipe on a certain day, they know all the inputs and what it should be. And then from a business perspective, we're able to get our planned costs, okay? So if we're making 1,000 soft gels or 100,000 soft gels, this is our planned cost. And then when they are in the system and using the forms, we're actually going to get actual costs as well. So then we always, for every batch run, we have a plan versus actual variant, which is extremely helpful when you're running your business, because, you know, you might not, you're as an executive or whatnot, you might not be in the lab every day watching them do this, but you can always then take a look at any orders that were completed for a certain period of time, and really from there be able to say, okay, well, why are we spending double the recipe? If it's something where the recipe is off and we need to adjust it, or is someone taking advantage of the system and spending too much time and not getting things done in a timely manner. So from that standpoint of managing your business, ERP Cannabis has been extremely helpful in getting our costs down and really us to have our margins be where they need to be for us to be a successful company. Okay. So other things that we strive to do is medical delivery technologies. Okay. What does that mean? When you talk about CBD, and this is what a lot of people don't understand, is you want the highest bioavailability of your product. What does it mean? That means that, you know, if you're taking something through your stomach, a lot of that CBD that we're trying to give you is going to be burned off in your stomach, whether it's acids, the different things. It's not attaching to any protein, and it's really not getting into your bloodstream. So what we've developed are different parts of our formulation that are going to bioavailability, where we're getting 80 to 90% of the CBD in our products into your bloodstream, because we want a product that does what we say it's going to do, and without that bioavailability, it's not going to work, or it's not going to work up to the level that we want it to. Okay, so bioavailability, if you think about it, inhalation is a sense of bioavailability that gets directly into your bloodstream. So vape pens, different things like that within the industry, tinctures, things like that are through the mouth. And what we've developed that I haven't seen anyone else in the industry have is a sublingual delivery, where it's a tablet that melts in your mouth, because you are not then taking it through your stomach and burning off a lot of the active ingredients that we put into our product to get into your bloodstream and be helpful. The last thing we also deal with healthcare professional education. This is such an emerging market that a lot of people are thrown off by the word cannabis or the word hemp, because they think of it as a marijuana product, and you're going to get high, and there's no other benefits than it being a recreational drug. Which, as the market keeps emerging, and as you could see, cannabis stock, there was a cannabis stock in Canada that the company's now worth $13 billion. So it's really educating those people. And so we do that through our Hemp CBD Sciences website, which is our company, where it's really about the education, so people can go online and really figure out what is the truth about CBD. Because to be honest with you, a lot of people don't know, and myself included, the full capabilities of this plant. And as it gets unscheduled, as far as the farm bill coming up and whatnot, it's going to start really up. And it's really having your patients and healthcare professionals understand what the product does. With that, people are then going to be driven to quality products across the board. And through the process from 1 all the way to 6, we're able to use our ERP Cannabis platform to really not only inform people, but really capture our costs and understand, okay, where is our cost going, and how do we make our margins as high as we possibly can. Next slide, please. So like I said, we are really from a business standpoint, we have our extraction and our manufacturing, as well as our okay. And so extraction and manufacturing, as I discussed before, we do white labeling for other companies. And that's another thing where we're able to do our product costing. So we know down to a cent what each one of the capsules that we produce costs. And we're able to do that by using ERP Cannabis and saying, okay, to make 100,000 capsules, it's going to take 40 hours of labor, 20 hours of the encapsulation machine, 20 hours of the bottling machine. And really, when you have all of those, you know, down to that cent, what you're able to, what you're able to make a soft gel for. And in turn, we're now able to do our manufacturing and white labeling where we can be competitive in our pricing and make sure that we're still going to get a cut of that over the end. Okay. And then we also, through the ERP Cannabis solution, we also are able to have a e-commerce presence where every single thing that we sell is going to come back into our solution. And so you're really going to be able to, at any point in time, in any given day, through the solution, you'll pull a report and say, what are my sales for any given period of time? Who am I selling to? What are my wholesale orders versus my retail orders? And really capture all of the information that you need to be able to run a successful business. And all of that is really powered by our IT solution. And I think that's an area where we're going to be able to differentiate ourselves to not only right now and be able to provide a great product, but also in the future when you're looking at, like I said before, all of the stocks and different things where if we're going to come out with an IPO, whenever that may be, investors and companies that are going to help us take part really need to have that backbone of all this information of what you're doing. It can't be just hey, I'm in this to be to make a hemp product because it's the newest cool thing to do. It's really a business, and that business really needs to be run like any other manufacturing business will be, with that understanding that it is a different industry and there are some different limitations that you're going to have to when you are running this business. Next slide, please. So this is just kind of some pictures of our lab, and then we're actually currently going through a $2 million facility upgrade. But you're going to see one of our extraction machines. And so really what you do there is you spray down the cold ethanol, and it's going to capture the oil at the bottom. That's Wyatt, one of our laboratory engineers who is responsible for extraction, just showing him that he's cleaning. And again, another thing that ERP Cannabis allows us to do is really be able to track our maintenance. Okay, so that's another thing that if you aren't on top of your maintenance, a breakdown can cost you hundreds of thousands of dollars up to millions of dollars. So if you have a white label deal that needs to go out, but your machine breaks down, you don't have that. So with ERP Cannabis, we're actually capable of setting up maintenance plans for all of our machines. So after 100,000 hours of running this machine, it needs to go under maintenance. Or in turn, 1,000 hours or every 3 months, whichever one comes first, it's time to, hey, this machine needs to go off for a day and we need to do our scheduled maintenance. Okay. So I just wanted to show these pictures. This is our machinery. And without that machinery being up and processing at all times, our business is not going to be successful. And so really with ERP Cannabis on top of eBA, it's really given us the power to make sure that A, we're collecting all of our costs, B, we're maintaining our equipment while collecting those costs that go against, and C, really gives us a platform to make our sales and understand from a financial standpoint where our sales coming from, what are our COGS and what are those margins that we're getting from there. And it all comes from being able to have all the inputs that go into the system to run our business. So that's really what I wanted to cover as far as it goes, and I'm looking forward to the Q&A session. But I think just to sum up everything I said, and I might have been repeating myself, but really in this business, and it's an emerging market, and we feel like we're ahead of the game based upon understanding our costs, controlling our inventory and our spend, and understanding our sales. And that all comes across by ERP Cannabis and eBA, and using it as a tool to make our business successful. So I want to thank everyone for your time, and I'm looking forward to the Q&A.
Thank you, Joe. I appreciate it. Well, it's been actually great for us. So we have learned about the insights from your business, regarding your business, and also experience about ERP Cannabis, and on top of it, eBA workflow and document management platform. It's been great. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. So feel free to share your questions in chat box, and we'll be addressing your questions in Q&A session. So right now, I'd like to turn it to Joel Halverson from Quintel Management Consulting, and we'd like to learn more about ERP Cannabis and how eBA is running, how ERP Cannabis is running on eBA. So Joel, would you like to take it from here?
Yep, very good. Thank you, Kevin. Thank you, Joe, for the overview of Panacea as well. So I'm going to talk about Quintel and ERP Cannabis. Quintel is a partner with Bimser, and we have, through that partnership, developed the ERP Cannabis solution with eBA, as Joe described previously, in terms of how it's being used within Panacea Life Sciences. So next slide. So the ERP Cannabis solution is a complete value chain solution to cover all of the potential areas for companies that are in the cannabis industry. So you can see with core financials in the center of the solution that includes inventory management and procurement. And then on the front end, we have point of sale and customer management. So being able to manage sales activities and also marketing and just customer relationship activities. And then on the back end, being able to manage the cultivation, the production, all of the planning that needs to happen. So Joe was talking about at Panacea Life Sciences, how they take raw product and go through a series of production activities to eventually produce the end product that then is sold to the customers. So along that whole chain, of course, there's a lot of ownership changes that happen. There's a lot of transactions that happen. There's a lot of processing that happens. There's a lot of use of inventory. There's a lot of labor that goes into every step of the process. So it's a lot to keep track of. And as Joe indicated, being able to within one solution is a competitive advantage for anyone in this market. So the track and trace capability is also there as well, because within this industry, it's highly regulated. So each state is essentially adopting their own regulation associated with the cannabis industry and the types of products being developed. As Joe indicated, Panacea is primarily focused on CBD, does not do any of the processing of THC, which is associated with more highly regulated activities because of the impacts on both the medical and the recreation side for that part of it. So we also have the HR integration, so being able to manage employees and all of their time entry, all of their benefits, all of your other HR type of activities integrated, so that with all of that in one system, all of the labor costs, all of the material costs, all of the specific tracking of inventory can be captured and cost of goods sold determined, which of course has an impact on the financials. So it's a complex system, but a comprehensive system that allows customers like Panacea to be able to have a single solution that captures everything that's happening within their company. So next slide. Just in terms of the primary modules with grow and production operations and streamlining those business processes and all of the tracking that needs to happen. There's also new technologies that are introduced as part of that in terms of RFID, for example, for inventory management, and all of that then needs to be integrated with different regulatory bodies to be able to appropriately capture the activities and ensure that whatever is happening is traceable and trackable and accountable for each company in the industry. So point of sales, of course, you need to be able to effectively sell, and having user-friendly to be able to do that on the front end, and then being able to integrate all of that sales activity into the financial part of the solution is critical. Within the back office, then you have all of the financial and accounting that needs to happen, including all of the purchasing activity, inventory and vendor management, HR and payroll, fully integrated within the solution, and then comprehensive reporting to be able to understand exactly what's happening, be able to provide financial reports to either investors or regulators or whoever else may need to have access to the system in terms of what may be happening within the business. Next slide. So just in terms of Quintel, as I mentioned, we are a partner with Bimser, and we have developed the ERP cannabis solution, and that is based upon our experience of implementing ERP solutions since 2002, and our focus has primarily been with SAP. So of course that made a great fit. Bimser is a partner with SAP with their eBA solution, Quintel being a certified partner with SAP as well for implementing and supporting the SAP solution really made sense. So that was the reason that we partnered with eBA initially, and then the development of the ERP cannabis solution based upon our experience in a number of different industries over the years since 2002. So we're based in Colorado, and if you have heard about the cannabis industry at all, you'll know that Colorado was one of the original states that was opened up for full medical and recreational use of the cannabis products. And so this is kind of a hub of activity. And Quintel has completed many implementations for small and large companies alike. And of course, many of the companies in this particular industry are very small. So Panacea being a company of about 8 employees, and that's really a challenge to be able to utilize an ERP solution when you have such a small staff, and of course working on small budgets, being in a new industry and essentially being in a startup mode as a company within that industry. So, but we are uniquely positioned to provide our customers with a range of skills. We have a number of different skill sets on our own within our Quintel, and we have extensive experience, and also our origins are in the management consulting industry. So we always maintain a focus on business strategy and process improvement in conjunction with the implementation of IT solutions to facilitate the business and be able to capture process improvements and maintain a strong focus on from a business process and improvement perspective. So, all right, so with that, I'm going to, next slide. I have one more slide to cover just because of the specific situation and the use case that we're talking about with Panacea Life Sciences. The challenge was to find a solution that would provide an integrated business platform that would include all the areas of business operations, HR, and financial management. However, they're a small company, and so being able to manage that type of an integrated business platform would be challenging given the small number of staff and potential for high levels of turnover with a small staff, and also with a new industry where you have lots of individuals coming in and out with different skill sets and looking for other opportunities. So turnover is a reality for the industry, and the ERP solution, of course, had to be affordable and also user-friendly. So those were the challenges that were set out, and of course the ERP solution, the ERP cannabis solution, was with exactly those types of challenges or business objectives that companies in this industry may be facing as they start out and continue to grow quickly. So I'm going to go into a demonstration of exactly how the ERP cannabis solution is set up and how we're able to integrate with the solution to be able to provide an easy way for employees within these small companies to be able to manage all of the data input that would go into a solution like ERP Cannabis. So I'm showing you the ERP Cannabis logon screen, and I'm going to go ahead and get logged on. All right, so basically we've set up the user interface to be tile-based, based upon the permissions that a particular user may have. They would log in and see the types of tiles, essentially, that they are allowed to have access to. So in this case, we're looking at the procure to pay applications, as well as a track purchase order app that allows us to track purchasing activity. And then we also have a range of financial reports, inventory reports, process order reports, a number of standard reports that come delivered with the solution. So specifically to enter, so basically the track purchase order app, along with the reporting, is getting information out of the system. But in order to get information into the system, we would go directly into the eBA solution, and we have an example set up here where I'm able to go to the applications. These are all of the different forms, as we refer to them, that have and allow for the ease of input to the solution. The other thing that it provides is control over the types of data that can be put into the system, just to make sure that there's consistency. So, for example, Joe was talking previously about manufacturing and producing product based upon a number of different ingredients at Panacea Life Sciences. And of course, the only way to be able to do that is to have all of the required products and all of the necessary ingredients in the system, and the ingredients, for example, in the system based upon the standard units of measure that are required for how the ingredients need to be utilized, and therefore track inventory based upon those units of measure. So there's not a possibility of having users put in information that is inconsistent or usable, because through all of these forms, we're able to specifically control the data input and the options that users have in providing that input to the ERP Cannabis system. So if I go through, we have the finance forms, we have the purchasing forms, we have the production forms, we have the sales forms, and then going down, we have some integration to the metric system, which is required here in Colorado. And then we also have an administrative set of forms, and then reports that can be accessed through eBA as well. So I'm just going to go through an example to show the integration on creating a purchase request. So if I click on the purchase request form, it's going to come up and request that I put in the name of the requesting, whatever needs to be purchased. I can put in on the comments just information that would be helpful for anyone who may need to be reviewing or approving this particular purchase request. Of course, eBA has integrated document and workflow management, and so that's perfect for a purchase request where the information can easily be reviewed by the appropriate person or people within the organization to approve whatever is being requested. So I'll just put in here supplies that are needed, separated into standard purchase items, and then inventory items, which are separate. So if I click on the add button, it's going to take me to another form where I can fill out the description of what it is that I need to be providing. I can select from a drop-down. So this drop-down is direct integration to the back end, to the ERP Cannabis solutions, so that When I click on that drop down, it's going to go retrieve all of the item categories that are in the back end. It's going to come back, and I'm going to search for the particular category I want to assign this purchase to. So I'm going to assign it to office supplies, and I'm going to specify a quantity of 10 and a unit of measure. So in this case, it's a free-form purchase request, so I can select from the range of units of measures that are provided within the ERP cannabis system. And then I can put a price associated with that, and then I can select from all of the vendors. So I can only, of course, select a vendor that has basically been approved and set up within the ERP cannabis solution. So I'm going to select vendor A1 with a delivery date of Friday, and I'm going to assign this purchase to the purchasing department. So again, I can only assign it to the departments that are represented within the solution and provided on the dropdown, so preventing any sort of use of data that's not appropriate for what it is that I'm trying to accomplish. So I can go ahead and add that information. Of course, if I wanted to add an inventory item, I can do the same thing, where I select the facility where the inventory is to be purchased for. I can select from a range of inventory materials that are in the system. If I search for RM as a shorthand, to be able to bring up all of our raw materials. So our within the system is to have all of our raw materials labeled this way, so I can quickly go in and select the type of raw material that I might be interested in purchasing on an inventory perspective, and then go through and complete the rest of this form for the inventory item as well. But once I've done that and selected all of my standard items, all of my inventory items that might be needed, I can go ahead and send this document. So once I send it, it's going to come back and it's going to require approval. So you can see in the upper left-hand corner, I have the ability to object this. So for demo purposes, we have the approval going to the initiator of the form, obviously within PLS, within Panacea Life Sciences. This approval would go to the appropriate individual who would not be the initiator to be able to review and approve it. The flow associated with the approval can be reviewed so that once I've submitted it, I can see who it is that needs to be approving the request that I just made. So you can see it goes to the manager. It's intended to go to the manager of the person that initiated the purchase request. Its status is in waiting. So since it has come, I can go ahead and approve it. Once it's been approved, it goes through the process. You can see down below that it's been sent to the ERP cannabis system, and then it has completed the entire process. If I go back to the document, you can see that we have messages that come from the back end that are populated on the form that indicate that the purchase requisition has been created and then provides a number. So all of that processing happened on the back end based upon those simple inputs that were provided on the front end. So it's a very easy way to go through and provide the necessary inputs to the ERP cannabis solution, and all of the other forms are set up in the same way to be able to provide that same type of ease of entry, for example, to create a sales order. So I can just select from the list of customers that have been put into the system. I can populate the form with all the information, go down and add specific line items associated with the sales order, and go through the process of having that sales order approved, and then also starting the whole sales process that would include the delivery and eventually the invoicing. And then down below, we also have the reports that can be generated. So if I just want a simple list of all the vendors that have been to the ERP cannabis solution, I can go ahead and click on the add button. It'll come up with a list of all of the vendors, complete. And then based upon that list, I can select some or all of those that have been included. So it's an easy way of getting information out of the system to be able to look at all of the data. so that then I can be reviewing as I'm putting data into the system exactly what has been provided and get a complete listing out of the system. But let's go ahead and open it up to question and answers.
Hi, Joel. Well, thank you very much for the demo session. So far we have learned about Panacea. We have learned about how Panacea is using ERP Cannabis along with eBA. And thanks to your demonstration, now we have an idea of how eBA is running as ERP Cannabis. So it's been actually great for us to learn and see and demonstrate how it has been actually working and how it can be used. So let's see what kind of questions we have, because we have some questions in our system as I see it, and I'll address them to you. So one of the questions, I think this one can be addressed by ETR. So in general, eBA can be used. It can be used also for mobile apps.
Yes, all of our products have a mobile application available for Android and iOS. So, for example, it is very easy and very convenient for most of our customers to be able to access our product from the phone. So maybe if you have approvals to go through and you just don't have the computer with you, you can just submit that approval from the phone directly.
Let's see. We have a couple other questions. It looks like this is for Joel. In terms of the employees, end users, at the end of the day, how simplified user interface being received by the employees, and how it's been is it easy for employees to use ERP Cannabis running on eBA?
Was that for Joe?
That is for Joe, yes.
For Panacea?
For Panacea, correct. Joe, did you? I can. Let's see. I
go ahead and answer that. So, yeah. So it's really easy for them to use. You know, the key when it comes, because I was watching Joel's screen, and you know, me in my position, I have access to a lot of forms. But really, in an organization, a lot of the people are really gonna only need to understand maybe, you know, at most 6 or 7 of those different forms and understanding that process. So I found that it's been you know, initially, obviously, people are not used to it, and when we first put it in, they're going, well, why do I need to put in all this information and this and that? But in the end, they understand that, hey, by doing this, I'm no longer going to have to spend hours and hours doing inventory reconciliation or, you know, asking what I was doing at any given day at any given time. So, you know, the forms have been easy to use, and they picked it up, you know, fairly quickly, where I'd say they're very proficient at the use of them within about a week or so. And another great thing is that we were provided with, you know, training documentation, and, you know, people came in and showed us how to use the system. And like I said, me coming from an IT background, that also made it helpful. But there was a ton of throughout the way, and the forms are just a simplified version of just getting in the information that we need from them, and going from there. But I think the key is, you know, it's not like everybody's doing everything within the system. There's, you know, managers that do certain things. There's workers in the lab that do so. You know, they were able to pick up their certain areas fairly quickly.
Thank you, Joe. And also, definitely, I also say thank you for choosing ERP Cannabis and eBA. We truly appreciate it. Thank you for your support.
Yep.
This question is for Quintel. Joel, how easy it is to integrate eBA with SAP?
Yeah, I would say that because eBA and Bimser are partners with SAP, integration with SAP is very straightforward and has worked very well to meet this need that we had with ERP Cannabis. So that, you know, there is some technical proficiency that's required to be able to manage all of the different types of forms that need to be developed, all of the drop downs and all of the different types of information that needs to go into it. But once you've been able to do that with a few of the forms. The rest of them then can be developed quickly, and the integration to the back end does require that there's, for example, on the SAP side as well, to be able to feed the data from the ERP solution from SAP directly into the eBA forms. So I would say that because of that integration that has been established between eBA and SAP, that made it very easy to accomplish.
There is a follow-up question. So can eBA be used as an interface for other ERP platform as well?
Yeah, it certainly could be used with other ERP solutions, and these types of forms could be implemented for any ERP implementation, whether it's SAP or other types of solutions, to be able to capture data from the back end, as we refer to it, and be able to present it on the front end, or to be able to more easily provide data to the ERP solution with these front end forms. So.
Thank you, Joe. We have another question that is for Panacea. In terms of your staff, how did they feel while using eBA? I think this is what you addressed, right, earlier. Is there anything that you would like to add in terms of using eBA?
You know, I think anytime that you implement any sort of software, there's going to be an initial, you know, and this is really, so the management level all love it, right? But you ask somebody to put any additional information down, there was an initial, why am I doing this? What is this for? Whatever it may be. But like I said, after they saw that, you know, this is going to save them work on the back end as far as reconciliation, different items like that, you know, I think the key and what we did a good job of doing when we implemented the software is trying to explain to them, how does this benefit them, right? Because, you know, they might not initially see it, they saw it as an additional step of what they're going to do. But when you go into it and look at the implementation from their end and explain, well, hey, you know, this is going to help us control inventory so that, you know, I'm not coming to bug you and say, well, hey, you know, it said we had 15 gallons of MCT in stock, but when I went back to 35, where's the 10? You know, well, they're going to say, oh, well, I used it on an order yesterday, and you know, I just hadn't updated anything yet. Where with our solution, now that they're able to do this in real time and make their measurements and say, pull it right out of inventory directly, you know, they are now loving it because it saves them that extra work that they used to have to do. So I think, you know, as long as you frame it correctly and really tell people how this improve their jobs and their lives, once we got over that hurdle, everyone now loves using the system.
Well, that's definitely good to hear, and thank you for your insight. Much appreciated. It looks like I think time is up. Well, I would like to first of all thank our panelists for their insights. Joe Galloway, Joel Halverson, thank you so much for your insights, and ETR Gonzalez, of course, for addressing the question. And also, I'd like to thank to our attendees. Thank you for your support and interest. On our screen, you can see our contact information. Myself as Kevin Devecioglu and our panelists. We also put their contact information on screen. So if you have any questions, or if you like to continue this conversation, you can contact us, and we'll be happy to be in touch with you. And while we are ending our webinar, I'd like to also remind you that we have another webinar tomorrow regarding manufacturing 4.0 and smart factory. I'm also putting the registration link in chat box at the moment. So if you are interested in manufacturing 4.0, feel free to register right now, and it'll be tomorrow. I will thank you for your time and thank you for your interest. I'm looking forward to seeing you in our coming executive webinar sessions. Have a nice day. Thank you.